everyone. In this exercise, you're going to be creating an invoice template for a fictitious record store called Dover Vinyl. This invoice will be used when customers place orders. They'll order certain quantities of items. They can be different things. They could be records, different products that the store sells. Customers may order a couple items. They may order a whole bunch of items. Each of those items will have a quantity, how many of that thing they wanted, a price, so how much an individual item costs, and then you'll be doing a calculation to calculate how much total would that be. So in this example, they're getting 2 of whatever these things are that are $5 each. So 2 items at $5 would be $10 total. You're going to calculate totals going all the way down for as many items as the customer orders. They could order a couple, they could order 20 items. It should calculate all those totals over here, and then add up all of the things they bought into a subtotal. We have a spot for sales tax, so if this company was in a town that required charging sales tax, so in this case we have an example sales tax of 5%. So this sales tax should be calculated based on the subtotal. So the subtotal times the sales tax rate will give how much sales tax will be on this bill. And then the total sale should add those two things together. We also have to design this invoice spreadsheet, a template, so that it looks nice. You can see I'm in the print area. I did the print command so you could see what it looks like printed on a piece of paper. So the employees in the company could print out the invoice once the customer's information is entered and could give a copy to the customer or include it in a shipment if they were mailing out their products. So we have to design it nice with the company's logo, nice big and purple title, places for the customer's name and address and phone number information, the date of the sale, and an invoice number so you could numerically code the different invoices. And then the employee could type in what the customer is getting, and those formulas would be there already, so they would calculate. And then you can go back to a blank template and get ready for a new customer. So let's go ahead and build this, the design of this together using the page layout tools in Google Sheets, which is Google's spreadsheet software. We won't be using Excel for this activity, but if you have Excel, you can do it in Excel as well. The techniques are similar. So in the assignment that is up on Google Classroom, I have some things for you. First, I have the image file of Dover Vinyl's logo. So you'll want to click on that. And it might, depending on your computer, it might let you right-click on the image and choose Save Image As, and then just save it somewhere on your computer. Usually I pick just to save it in the Downloads folder. You may have to hit the ... menu and open it in a new window and get the Download button, and then it will do the same thing. It will let you download it, and again, I usually plop it in the Downloads folder so I can find it, and then hit Save. But I've already done it, it's already there, so I don't need to save it again. I'll go back. And then the other thing I have for you in here is an example file. It will show you what the final spreadsheet should look like, so you can go and use this as a guide as you're working on it. And then I'll talk about the different colored boxes here, tell you what kind of formulas go in what, and I have some directions that go along with that. But you're going to create your spreadsheet in this Dover Vinyl invoice template Google Sheet that I already set up for you. It's just a blank spreadsheet ready for you to start entering in your information. So when I'm designing a spreadsheet that I intend to print, I have to do a little bit of layout first and make sure things fit on the page. In Excel, we had that nice page layout view. In Google Sheets, we don't. So we'll be going back and forth between the print layout view to get it to look right. So if I go back to my example, there it is, I notice that I've kind of made my first row really large, And I've put the Dover Vinyl logo in the top and a nice large label here to say that it's an invoice. And also, if I look and see how many columns I'm working with, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 columns with the second column really wide and the other ones kind of at normal size. So I'm going to set that up right away. So I'm going to leave the first column A in normal size. I'm going to make column B really wide, and then I'm going to leave column C and D the way they are. And you do that just by clicking and dragging on the line in between the column labels, and it will let you resize the column. Then I also made row number 1 a little bit deeper to make room for that large title and the logo. So in the example, I put the large title in this third column, and it overlaps into the fourth column. So we'll do that. So in here, I'll type the word invoice, capital I. And then that was big and purple. So I'll pick a nice large font, maybe 36. And the text color, I'll make it a bright purple. Maybe I'll make it bold too, just to stand out a little bit more. I like that. And now I want to insert the logo here. And in order to insert anything into the spreadsheet, in Google Spreadsheets, it's under the Insert menu, and it's under Image, and it's Image over Cells. So it's a little bit different than Excel. Excel has an Insert tab, and you can insert pictures that way. I have to browse my computer to the Downloads folder where I put that Dover Vinyl logo. And if you're not in the Downloads folder already, you can click to your Downloads folder, and then there is where I have the file saved. And I'll open that up. And it finds it. And it's really big. So we need to move it around and we need to make it a little smaller. So if I click on it once, I get these handles. And when I have those handles visible, I'm able to click and drag and move it around. And if I click and drag on a corner handle, see how I get those 2 arrows? I can click and drag towards the center of the logo and I can make it smaller. And I might make my first row a little bit larger to make a little bit more room. Maybe that's too large. There we go. That looks good. So now I've got my my logo and my invoice title. So that's done. Let's see how else the example looks. So I have the address of the business, and then a place for the date and the invoice number, and then some customer information. So let's go ahead and put that in there. I've got the, what do we have here? I'm going to, let's see, let's pop this off so I can look at it at the same time while I'm working. That might be helpful. Where'd it go? There we go. So 5 Main Street, Dover, New Hampshire. And then over here, I have a space for a date and the invoice number. And all of these labels were bold, so I can click and drag to select them and make them bold. Again, click and drag to select them and make them bold. And then I have a place for who this order is going to, so the customer name. And then the address, city, state, and zip code, phone number, and email address. I'll make all of those bold as well. Great. So looking back on my example, oh, I guess I didn't make them bold before, but that's okay. I like them bold. Then I kind of skipped a row, and then I have the start of my spreadsheet area where I'm going to be calculating the items and what the person is ordering. So I have a column for the quantity, how many of that item, the item name, the price, and then the total. And then I have that shaded in purple, all those cells filled in purple. So that's this row right here. And if I choose the fill color, I can pick that nice light purple, and then I can add those labels. So quantity, item name, I can write that all out, item name, price, and total. And then I can select that and make that bold. Now I want to kind of get an idea how I'm doing filling up the page. So I can go ahead and hit that print button. I can click the little picture of the printer, or I can go to File and Print. And it will show me what it looks like. And sometimes it will default to having the paper sideways or landscape. And over here I just need to choose Portrait to make sure that it's doing the piece of paper up and down. I'll zoom out a little bit. So I'm taking up the kind of top half of the page, and I still have plenty of room down below, but I don't really know how many rows I have available, so I'm going to do a little test to see how far down. So I'm going to make a guess. I'm going to pick this cell right here, and I'm just going to type a couple dashes in there. So it will show me, am I still on this one piece of paper, or did I bump onto a second? So I'll hit the print button again. And I'm still on this one piece of paper. It looks like I have a little bit more room before I hit the margin, so I'm going to try and move that down. So I'll delete that from there, try down a couple more rows, and see if I'm still on the paper. And yeah, I am. And I think I'm right close to the bottom. So you might need to experiment. If you go too far and move it down a little bit too far. Oops. Actually, I have to hit enter on that for it to take. You'll see it'll bump it onto a second page. You'll see I'm 3 rows too far over, so I've got to bring that up. So not there. 1, 2, 3. How about this one? And hit print. And sure enough, yep, I'm all on one page now. Great. So that's going to be the bottom of my invoice template. I want it to all fit on one page. So if I look back at my example, this bottom row I have shaded in purple, and then I have all the borders turned on, and I've got some labels here for the subtotal, sales tax, and total sale. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to turn this bottom row and shade that purple, the fill bucket, fill color, light purple. I can get rid of that dash now. And then above it I have in this cell subtotal, sales tax, and total sale. Actually, the total sale should be down in the purple area. So I am going to just select these and then move to the edge and just drag it down one. Oh, then I lose the purple. That's okay. Go back to my fill bucket and make that purple. Now, in my example, those are all aligned on the right side of the cell, so I just need to change the alignment of these 3. And that alignment tool is right here. Right now they're aligned on the left, that's center, and that's right. So I'll choose right aligned, and I'll also make these bold. Looking good so far. If I hit print, you can see it's starting to look like an invoice template. So that's looking pretty good. I'm going to turn some borders on to make my grid a little bit darker. So I'm going to select this whole area and just hit the borders button and hit this first one, which turns all the borders on. And then down in the subtotal, sales tax, and total sale, I'm going to select these and turn all those borders on. And then this area here, I don't need the borders on the inside, so I'm just going to select this area and just turn the outside border on. There, so that's nice and dark. So now if I hit print, you can see, oh, my borders didn't show up here. What happened? Sometimes I forget. There we go, that one. Okay, that looks good. So I've got all those borders turned on. Great. All right, so now I've got places to type stuff. I've got all the cells labeled. I know what stuff needs to go where. We're going to put a sales tax rate in here. If it's 5%, that's 0.05 as a decimal. And then when I click back on that, I need to format that as a percentage, and it automatically multiplies it by 100, changes it to a percent. Looking at what other data is going to go in here, the quantity, the number of items is going to be here. Those, because it's just a number like 2 items or 10 items, it doesn't need to be formatted as anything special. It's not a percent, it's not money, but I would like it centered in the cell. So I'm going to choose my, instead of horizontal, the left alignment, I'm going to choose center. Now, because there's no data in here, you can't see it yet, but it'll show up when I start typing. And over here, the item name is just going to be some text, like, you know, Van Halen record or something like that. But the price and the total, those are going to be money. So all of these cells could potentially have money in them. So I'm just going to set the formatting for them ahead of time. So I'm going to select all of these cells and click the $ to format as currency. And again, because there's no data in here, you can't tell that they're formatted as money, but the minute I type a number in here, those $ will appear. And the subtotal, the amount of sales tax, and the total sale, those 3 cells will also have money in them. So I'll click that currency format. So if I throw some example data here, like if I put, they need 2 of some record, and it's $15. Well, the minute I type 15, see, it puts the dollars and cents in there. It doesn't calculate the total yet because I haven't put formulas in yet. 1, something else, and it's $5. And again, see that the centering is here. The numbers change to money, and does that because we set the formatting ahead of time. All right, this is great. So the only thing left is to enter the formulas in here. And so I'm going to leave that for you to do, and I have some directions as to what formulas need to be there. So I have my example here, and actually I have the instructions here. So let's see if I can put those side by side. So you're watching the video right now, and then you're going to finish the invoice by following these instructions. So you're going to make a formula in the top total box, that's this one right here, that multiplies the quantity times the price. So if it's 2 items, 2 times 5 would be 10. If it's 1 item, 1 times 20 would be 20. So that put the formula in this top total box that multiplies the quantity times the price and gives you the result. Then you're going to fill that formula down all the way down to just above the subtotal. So all of these cells that I've marked in orange on the example, those are going to have those quantity times the price formula in it. And when you fill it down, it will automatically move it depending on what row it's in. And remember, to fill, you want to grab that fill handle, that blue square in the corner, click and drag that down, and then it will copy that formula into all those cells. All right, the next instruction is make a formula in the subtotal box, so that's this yellow one right here, that adds up all the total cells above it. Your formula should work if the customer orders 1 item or 20 items. So it has to add up all of these cells, and sometimes there might be 2 items in there, sometimes there might be 1, sometimes there might be a whole bunch of items in here. But that subtotal should always work. It should always add up it should always add up all of the orange and put the answer in the yellow cell. And in Excel, we use the auto sum. This is what it looks like in Google Sheets. So if I go back here, and I'll make this my window wide again so you can see it. There it is right here. It's under functions and the sum function. Other than that, it works the same way as auto sum does in Excel. So you're going to use that to add up your total numbers. Next direction. There we go. Make a formula in the sales tax box. So that's this red one right here. That multiplies the subtotal times the sales tax rate. So this yellow, whatever's in the yellow, the subtotal, multiplied by the sales tax rate, that's going to be your amount of sales tax, and that's going in this red box. And then the last one in this purple box here, in the total sale box, you're going to add the subtotal and the sales tax amount, and that will give you the total amount that the customer will owe you. Now you're not going to make these cells orange, yellow, and red. That's just to show you which cells need to be it. You're just going to put the formulas in these cells. So those would be the orange cells, that would be the yellow cell, this would be the red cell. And that's just to help you know what formula goes in what box. That's the purple cell. So when you finish, your spreadsheet should have all of those formulas in there. So it doesn't matter how many items I type in for a customer order, it'll automatically total it up, calculate a subtotal, sales tax, and the total sale every time. And when you're finished with adding your formulas in, you'll turn this assignment in Google Classroom, and I will look it over and give you feedback. And of course, if you have any questions, you can contact me or put comments in Google Classroom, and I will get back to you. Or you can come to our live class on Tuesdays, and I'll be answering questions about the assignments there. Thanks a lot. Have a good day, and we will see you online.